Ava Baron Combmes. That name alone had people pausing mid-scroll like, wait, what? Since when does Sean Combs have an adopted white daughter? And not just adopted quietly, but casually introduced on camera like it's nothing? Girl, when that clip first started circulating, people didn't even know whether to laugh, question it, or go full detective mode. And you know how it goes. Once the internet smells something off, it doesn't let go. So picture this. There's Ava sitting there, calm as anything, introducing herself. My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio. Cute, right? But then someone asks her last name, and she drops it like it's the most normal thing in the world. Ava Combs. Then Ava Baron Combmes. And that's when people started looking at each other like, hold on. Combs, as in Diddy? Because nobody had ever heard of this before. No adoption announcement, no paperwork floating around, nothing official. Just suddenly, boom, this girl is being presented as his daughter. And not in a low-key way either. She's around his real daughters, in interviews, in photos, like she's been part of the family the whole time. Now here's where it starts getting messy. Around the same time all this is happening, there's another story floating online. A missing girl. Her name? Ava Baldwin. And once people started putting the timelines side by side, things got real uncomfortable real fast. Same age range, similar facial features. And I'm talking about those small details too. Forehead shape, chin, eyes, even the way she smiles. People were zooming in like FBI agents on TikTok. And suddenly, this wasn't just gossip anymore. This felt eerie. According to what people dug up, Ava Baldwin had a biological father named David Harper. And the last time he saw his daughter, she was only 6 years old. 6. After that, things got complicated between him and the mother, Catherine. They were living in different states, barely communicating, and from what's being said, Catherine was actively keeping him out of Ava's life. Like, to the point where Ava didn't even know she had a father. Imagine that. You grow up thinking your dad doesn't exist, and then one day he shows up like, hey, I've been here the whole time. That alone is already sad, but it gets worse. Because one day, David turns on the news, and instead of finding out normal life updates about his daughter, he sees a video of her being introduced as Diddy's adopted child. Can you imagine that shock? You're sitting there thinking your daughter is somewhere with her mom, and suddenly she's on camera with a global celebrity calling him her dad. That's not something you process in 5 minutes. And people started asking, how does something like that even happen? Apparently, before all of this blew up, Ava had already been reported missing. School noticed she hadn't shown up for weeks. No explanation, no calls, nothing. And when they tried reaching Catherine, she was just gone. No trace. No updates. That's when things escalated. Authorities got involved, and David was contacted. That's when he realized something was seriously wrong. He went straight to the police and filed a missing person report. And when they tried to track Catherine down using her last known address, it led to an empty lot. An empty lot. At that point, you already know something is off. And the more you dig into Catherine's history, the more chaotic it gets. Apparently, CPS had already tried to intervene before all this. There was even a viral video where she was doing something disturbing while Ava was literally lying in the background. CPS stepped in, tried to remove Ava from her custody, and even told David they'd help him get full custody if he could help locate her. But Catherine, she wasn't sticking around for that. She started bouncing from state to state, county to county, just dodging everything. Every time trouble caught up, she'd move again, like she knew exactly what she was doing. Eventually, they did manage to catch up to her at one point, and David got partial custody. That was actually the first real time he got to spend with his daughter. And according to him, Ava was in awe, like genuinely shocked that she even had a father. That part alone, it hits. But then everything goes quiet again. And then boom, years later, this video appears with Ava sitting next to Diddy, calling herself his adopted daughter. Now tell me that doesn't raise questions. And here's a detail that really made people uncomfortable. Before all of this became a full-blown online mystery, Ava was already being seen around Diddy's actual kids, hanging out, laughing, spending time together like sisters. There are clips, photos, real moments where they look close. And people are sitting there like, if everything was normal, why does none of this have a clear explanation? Because it's not just the adoption part, it's the silence around it. No official statements, no confirmation, just pieces floating around and everyone trying to connect them. And right when people thought it couldn't get any stranger, more voices started entering the conversation. And that's when Ally Carter stepped in and basically poured gasoline on the whole situation. Now listen, you know how sometimes people come forward and you're like, okay, maybe they're reaching. But the way Ally was talking, it didn't feel like gossip. It felt like someone who had been sitting on something for a long time and just couldn't stay quiet anymore. She starts connecting dots, bringing up patterns. And suddenly, Ava's situation doesn't look like some random one-off story anymore. It starts looking like a system. Ally basically says, look, what happened to Ava isn't some isolated case. She's hinting that there are multiple girls, multiple situations, and that this whole adoption narrative might not be what people think it is. And the scary part, she's talking like she's seen it firsthand. So now people are like, wait, hold on. Are we looking at something much bigger here? And right behind her, you've got Jaguar Wright jumping in too. And if you know Jaguar, you already know she does not hold back. She doesn't sugarcoat anything, and she definitely doesn't care who she calls out. She straight up says that Ava is still alive, but not free. According to her, Ava is being monitored, watched, controlled. And the way she says it, it's not vague. It's very direct. Like she's confident in what she's claiming. Now imagine hearing that as someone who already thinks this girl might be missing. It hits different. And then she goes even further. She starts talking about how this whole entertainment world operates, saying it's not just about music, not just about fame, it's a front, a cover for things happening behind the scenes that regular people don't even want to imagine. And suddenly, Ava's story feels less like a mystery and more like a piece of something darker. Meanwhile, people go back to that original video of Ava sitting with Diddy and they start noticing little things. The way she talks, the way she explains how she met him. She literally says, he found her on the street. Now come on. Who just casually says that? And why does it sound so rehearsed, like a story that's been repeated a few too many times? That line alone had people pausing the video like, wait, what did she just say? Because if that's true, that raises one set of questions. And if it's not true, that raises a completely different set of questions. Either way, it doesn't sit right. Then you've got David Harper still out there, still speaking, still trying to make sense of everything, and he's not backing down. He's saying straight up, he believes the girl in that video is his daughter. Not maybe, not it looks similar. He's convinced. And he's also saying something else that people can't ignore. He says, there are powerful people who know exactly where Ava is, and they're choosing to stay quiet. Now that right there, that's the kind of statement that makes people uneasy, because it suggests this isn't just about one person. It suggests protection, silence, influence. And people start asking, if that's true, how far does this go? Because let's be honest, when someone disappears, especially a child, there's usually a trail. Records, sightings, something. But in Ava's case, nothing solid. Just fragments, rumors, and that one viral video that refuses to go away. Even law enforcement, from what's being said, hasn't been able to pin down her location. And that's what really confuses people. In a world where everything is tracked, documented, recorded, how does someone just vanish like that? And then, of course, the conspiracy angle starts creeping in. People start bringing up the idea that maybe this isn't a failure to find her. Maybe it's a decision not to, that maybe certain doors aren't being opened, certain questions aren't being asked, especially with everything else that's been coming out around Diddy recently. Because let's not pretend his name has been everywhere. Lawsuits, allegations, investigations. It's been a constant stream. And with each new thing that surfaces, people are going back and reevaluating everything tied to him, including Ava. And then there's another layer that people can't ignore. The fact that Ava was seen around his daughters, laughing with them, bonding, spending time together like family. That part makes everything feel even more real, even more close to home. Because it's not like she was hidden in the background. She was right there. And people keep asking the same question over and over. If everything was normal, why does it feel like no one can explain it properly? Why is there no clear story, no official timeline, no confirmation from anyone involved? It's just silence. And in situations like this, silence is what makes people talk even more. And just when you think the story has reached its peak, that there's nothing more to uncover, more details start creeping out, making everything feel even heavier. And this is where everything just starts feeling heavy. Because once people began zooming out and looking at the bigger picture around Sean Combs, Ava's situation stopped looking like a random mystery and started looking like a missing piece in a much larger puzzle. You've got all these resurfaced stories, old clips, people suddenly speaking up after years of silence. And then one major thing drops the confirmation that Diddy was allegedly involved in moving people across places. Once that came out, people went right back to Ava's story and said, wait a second, because if you already have allegations about movement, control, and secrecy, then a missing girl suddenly appearing under a completely different identity doesn't feel like a coincidence anymore. It feels connected, and that's exactly what people started saying. Now, David Harper is still out there, still holding on to this belief that Ava is alive. And honestly, the way he talks about it, it's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just steady. Like a father who refuses to accept the worst outcome, even when everything around him is pointing in a direction he doesn't want to see. He says he believes God is watching over her, that she's out there somewhere. And you can hear it. It's not just hope. It's survival, because what else do you hold on to in a situation like that? But at the same time, even he admits there are moments where doubt creeps in, and that's what makes this whole thing hit harder. Because on one side, you've got a father praying his daughter is safe, and on the other side, you've got the internet trying to piece together whether she was ever safe to begin with. Then you've got Catherine, the mother, who just completely disappears from the story. No confirmed location, no updates, nothing. It's like both of them just vanished into thin air. And people are asking, how is that even possible? In today's world, where everything is tracked, recorded, shared, how do two people just disappear without leaving anything solid behind? That question alone has people spiraling into theories. Some are saying they're being hidden. Others are saying they were moved somewhere intentionally. And then there are those who believe something happened a long time ago, and what we're seeing now is just the aftermath. But nobody knows for sure. And that uncertainty, that's what keeps this story alive. Because it's not closed. It's not resolved. It's just sitting there, unanswered. Then you bring back voices like Ali Carter and Jaguar Wright, and suddenly the conversation gets even louder. They're not just hinting anymore, they're straight up accusing, talking about systems, about protection, about people knowing more than they're saying. And when multiple people start pointing in the same direction, even if there's no official confirmation, people start paying attention. Because it's not just one story anymore, it's patterns. And then there's the part that really makes people uncomfortable, the idea that Ava wasn't just randomly placed into this situation, that there might have been decisions made, people involved, maybe even money changing hands. Because remember what was being said, rumors that Catherine might have handed her over. Whether that's true or not, the fact that people even believe that tells you how dark this narrative has become. It's no longer just, where is Ava? Now it's, what actually happened to Ava? And those are two very different questions. The first one is about location. The second one is about truth. And right now, nobody has either. Even the authorities, from everything being said, haven't been able to give clear answers. No confirmed sightings, no official closure. Just a case that seems to fade in and out depending on how loud the internet gets. And every time Diddy's name trends again, Ava's name comes right back with it, like the story refuses to disappear. And people are starting to notice something else too. If Ava was okay, if everything was normal, you would expect at least one clear appearance, one statement, something to shut all of this down. But there's nothing.